Legislators worried by the mass killings in Benue State. The Senate Tuesday ordered the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, to investigate and arrest those behind it.
The senators also asked the Attorney General of Benue State to immediately prosecute those expected to be arrested by the IG.
Anger was raised on the floor of the House of Representatives, where President Muhammadu Buhari and the security agencies were berated for failing in their duties to ensure security in the country.
The lawmakers thereafter mandated the leadership of the National Assembly to meet with the president to ensure that the resolutions were implemented without delay.
So, again, this morning we'll now be examining the role and the responsibility of the legislators to bring the killings to an end as part of their oversight function.
We're now joined by a member representing Buruku Federal Constituency of Benue State. He's the chairman, Rules and Business House of Reps. Okay, Jeff, good to have you here with us.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
There was so much anger on the floor of the House of Representatives on Tuesday by members, especially from your own state. You are from Benue State, over the killings in your state and the response of government. Why is the anger now and not before, when these things have been rumbling?
Let me take the case of Benue, for instance. Between 2013 and 2016, a timeline of 37 attacks on Benue Soil took place, leading to hundreds of deaths. And to be fair, Buhari inherited this problem the same way he inherited Boko Haram and other security issues. Now, when he came, he gave a level of seriousness to the Boko Haram issue and to other issues. Before I came in, I was hearing you make reference to Python dance and crocodile smile. And so one expected that if this issue, which, by the way, is more serious, if you ask me, considering the rating of this Fulani Herdsmen as fourth most dangerous terror group in the world. I mean, if we have that kind of rating, it's a group that should not be ignored. But what you find happening here is that the government, the presidency appears to be looking the other way. I always insist, because the last attack is, in my opinion, the one that could the most easiest to have avoided, because all the signals were there. These people were holding press conferences. For instance, on the 23rd of October, there was a press conference by the Mieti Alapi group, threatening that they were going to converge on Benue Soil to resist the law that had been put in place by the Benue State government. By the time they were threatening to converge on Benue Soil, they had already filed a court case. So the converge on Benue Soil couldn't have been any other thing but violence, because the court case was already there. And so all the signals were there. Nothing was done until you had over 70 people killed in one operation. And like, these people are not spirit. You can't have more than 60 people killed by just one or two persons. They came in a large group, and yet the security people appear not to know. Let me give credit to the security people. They are more competent than this kind of incident portray. It is because the willpower, the political power on the part of the government is simply not there. That's why you find some of these things happening. So the anger had to be there, because it shows an unwillingness on the part of the government to do something about this particular problem, the way they are tackling Boko Haram, the way they are tackling other security issues. The same day that these people were killed, you had several people killed in rivers. See how that one was tackled. But here, because we are dealing with the herdsmen, I see that like a desperate attitude on the part of government to deal with this situation. So that accounted for the anger, especially from those of us from Benue, because we saw it coming. We tried to see whether it could be prevented. Nothing was done.
You say the government didn't respond the way the administration have even responded to the Boko Haram menace which the administration inherited and other criminal activities. Why do you think the government is a bit slow in responding to the herdsmen crisis?
Well, people have suggested, and the way it's going, I'm tending to believe it, that maybe because they share the same cultural affinity with the president. You know, on the floor, I made reference to the fact that some key Fulani people within the country have spoken to say that these people, this band of killers, are not even Nigerians. My colleague, Honorable Shagari, when he was contributing to a motion on a similar subject matter last year, said that as a Fulani man, immediately he sees these people, their accent, he knows that they are not Nigerian Fulanis. El Rufai, governor of Kaduna State, said the same thing. It was only last week that Ganduje, the governor of Kano, said it. And then Abu Ibrahim, who is the Senate chair on police affairs, said the same thing, that he even pointedly said they are Libyans. So if you have non-Nigerians come into the country and you're not bothered, I mean, it beats me hollow.
Can you really establish a connection between people assuming, like they're saying they are non-Nigerians, coming into the country to commit this particular act? Who are they doing these things for?
Okay, so we have lived with the Fulani herdsmen for generations. We've had no issues with them. But like was pointed out earlier before I came on the program, population is growing. These animals are growing in numbers, but the land is not. So for instance, when we used to talk about roads, Abuja, part of it, fell within those areas that were declared as roads for herdsmen. I mean, so, but now you cannot begin to pull down, say, the central bank or your premises here to make way for them. So we have to adjust to the emerging realities. So instead of adjusting, I see a situation where they reach out to their kith and kin outside Nigeria who are fighters, because when those people that come to kill, they don't even come with cattle. They just come with weapons, kill and disappear into thin air.
So they're like a militia arm.
They are the militia arm.
For protecting cattle herders.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. We have also joining us for this discussion, member representing Udenu, Igbo's North Federal Constituency, Honorable Dennis Agbo. Good to have you here with us.
All right. I know that there was a 2-week ultimatum given to the IGP to investigate the arrest behind those killings. Now, again, you're looking at other states as well. Taraba State, you're looking at Plateau, you're looking at Benue, and Benue is just in the debate and in the center of conversation because of what we saw happen and the mass burial. I'm sure there have been other lives lost before this mass burial in numbers, much higher than this. This was just a clear example of what was happening in broad daylight. Now, do you think 2 weeks is enough, considering the length of time this has gone on, the intelligence that will go through it, and also the uncovering of some of the syndicates involved in this? Honorable.
Oh, thank you for having me. 2 weeks definitely will not make such a difference, because there are fundamental measures that government needs to take to confront this menace. It will ultimately lead to a review of the farming system. The cattle breeding system has to be reviewed. Fortunately, it just seems as if we are not using the facilities available to us, because in Nigeria here, I belong to the Agric Institutions Committee of the House. There is NAPRE, National Animal Production Research Institute, Zaria. These people have developed species of grass that will be very, very useful if you talk of ranching. Now, we were told by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture that Saudi Arabia produces up to 5 million liters, 1.5 million liters, sorry, of milk every day. Saudi Arabia is in an arid region. They don't have grass at all. All the grass the cattle there use comes from Brazil and from the US. In Zaria, I visited NAPRE in my role as a supervising person belonging to that committee. I was in Zaria early this year. These people showed me NAPRE has grass developed for vitamins, for protein, for energy that can easily lead to quick growth of these cattle, even for higher milk production and so on and so forth. They have grasses developed for all these things. I think that instead of just saying 2 weeks, that we need to quickly begin to look at these alternatives, these options, because the solution is not even what the Honorable Minister said. I'm with due respect and regard to him. It's not about cattle colonies. The movement of cattle breeder, of herdsmen, must stop. The movement, the mobility of herdsmen must stop. It is when they are in motion, when they are moving, that terrorists can now cash in. It only requires them to gather a few cattle, arm themselves with sophisticated weapons and machine guns, and begin to move with their cattle. You can now see people moving, whether in the night or in the day. You regard them as a herdsman, but they are terrorists. So why don't we ranch our cattle, which is the civilized conduct everywhere in the world? In Napoli, they have special breeds of cattle already developed, fast growing, that can give you more meat, more milk. Why do we seek to reinvent the wheel when we already know these things are happening? You don't have the issue of people roaming around the streets, blocking traffic in the capital territory. You don't see these things in the US. You don't see these things even in Iran, where they have achieved a very high level of development in these practices. I just mentioned Saudi Arabia. So I think that the objective of government in trying to secure its people should be to terminate the movement of herdsmen.
But is that really possible, considering that there are grazing routes and that these people are people who have all their lives, throughout their generations, moved from one place to the other? There is a forest grazing route from Nigeria to Chad to Cameroon to other parts of West Africa. How are you going to lineate that? I
hope you understand me and I understand you. Because why do they have to move? If you are 5 cattle breeders heading a flock of about 50 cattle, okay? Stay in one place. Order your grass. Order your nutrients. Feed your cattle, either for meat or for milk. What else are they supposed to be doing? They do a business with this thing, grow the cattle to maturity, and people come to buy. If there's any other thing in cattle breeding, apart from this, that you grow an animal from birth to full maturity, either for meat or for milk, and then you sell it for money and you make your profit. Is there any other thing in this? People now do this in one place. In Napoli, they have balers. When they trim the grass, it's baled. If it is baled, it can be transported from Benue State to Sokoto State, from Benue State or from Kwara State to Borno State. And then you can begin to see more Nigerians participate in cattle breeding, not actually being in contact with the cattle, but only growing the grass. Then you can begin to see specialization. You can begin to say, oh, my grass is better. I have fortified it with energy, with more protein, with more vitamins. And it will become just like we do feed. I don't know why we are making a special case with cattle breeding when we are confronted with a very serious security challenge. We should say, how do poultry people feed the poultry birds? People produce feeds. You have Bendel feeds. You have these different types of feeds. People say this one is better than this one. It is going to come to that point regarding cattle breeding. Otherwise, we'll continue to live with this kind of problem.
All right.
And if you notice the intention of the anti-grazing bill of Benue State, it is what I'm saying here that is contained there. Some other states have enacted such bills also. And this is all the intention, to terminate the movement, because it is the movement that can be infiltrated. It is when people are moving that we don't. Our people, they have a saying that the mechanics don't allow us to know which person is the madman again. It is the movement that causes terrorists to infiltrate and then bring us to where we are.
Honorable KJF, he's suggesting a situation of, like agronomists would say, sedentarizing the cattle, keeping them in one location. Is that not what the cattle colony is all about?
No, well, it may be, but my understanding of the cattle colony is that you have a collection of ranches in one place, in one big environment, you know. And so, for instance...
So wouldn't that not stop migration of cattle from one point to the other if you have them in one particular location?
Yeah, on the surface of it, it will. But the issues are bigger than that. People are talking, even though the word colony is being misinterpreted, there's some, it evokes memories that people don't want to remember. But the truth of the matter, again, is you cannot avoid the fact that when you give a wide or large chunk of land, and for these people to come, and the next thing you start talking about expansion here and there. But at any rate, Benue State government, for one, says they don't even have that kind of land. A big place for colony. They can give, if you purchase land, you can have your ranches. But to begin to talk about, because we'll be talking about hundreds of thousands, if not of hectares of land, when you're talking about colony there, because ranches, many ranches, who knows, there could be 1,000 ranches in one place called a colony. So that is what my understanding of the colony is, and that is why for those, I understand some 16 governors are ready to...
Well, why is the Benue State government, for instance, not comfortable with this? Is it because majority of the people who are in this cattle breeding business are not natives to Benue State?
Look, Benue State is labeled the food basket of the nation. 70, if not more, percentage of the people are farmers. We are not good at trading. We are not much good at any other thing, farming. And so almost everybody, even those in the cities, just like the Fulani, no matter where they are, they keep cattle. Somebody give cattle to people to be moving around. A Benue man always has a farm. And so there's no land. That's the truth. That is why, even before the coming into place of this law, you've had several confrontations because of this. Like I said, we used to be very friendly, no problem at all. But now, there's no land at all. The population is increasing, the land is not increasing.
So are you saying that the land available, the limited land available in Benue State now is mainly for Benue people who are into farming?
Not mainly for, if you look at what the law says, you see, that law says that if you want to do cattle business in Benue, they're not saying no Fulani man should come or no cattle rearers should come into Benue to do it. If you do it in a business-like manner, just the same way, just because I'm a farmer doesn't mean I'll see any portion of land and start farming there. I mean, buy land. If you buy land, you do your ranching there. Nobody will chase you away just because you are not a Benue person. If you look at the law, it protects everybody. And if Section 19 of the law, which punishes those who refuse to, ranch their cattle, give the same punishment in Section 20 of the Benue law to those who rustle cattle. So if you rustle cattle, you'll be punished with the same punishment as those who refuse to ranch their cattle.
All right, let's just stay now, Honorable. Again, some people will ask, is it a case of lack of land or a case of distrust? Because you've had years of herdsmen farmer clashes. People have died. There's a lot of bad blood. There's a lot of people disgruntled. There are cases of injustice, and people do not seemingly want to be in the same environment, even just for the sake of fear. So do you think it's just a case of not having the availability of land? Happenstance, even if the land was available, even let's talk about ranching, do you think that there is enough trust for Benue State to even consider this conversation? Because we spoke to the Miyetti Allah secretary a few days ago in the show, and he said two things. He said whether it is cattle ranching or cattle colony, that they haven't yet had an extensive conversation, and they are yet to play out the, the intrigues of what the template would be for them. So until everybody comes to a round table, neither of the both is feasible, but it's a solution, but they need to be carried along. So do you think there's a case of distrust in this issue?
Well, we're not having enough land is at the root of it, I would say. Because we live with these people, then if these herders, encroach on your land, on your farm, what they will do, they will sit together with you and talk it over, and sometimes pay compensation. I beg your pardon. Now they don't even do it because there's no land. There's no land at all. Chances are that there's not much maneuvering, space for them wherever they go, and because of this, they too have developed a very short temper when it comes to relating with the local farmers. So it's a combination of not having enough land, and then we have come to a stage where even when they encroach on your farm, they are not prepared to sit and talk with you. The next thing, they bring guns and start shooting. So a combination of that. But that is not to say if you put it in an enclosure, because the law says a ranch must be fenced. Okay, you have to fence the distance, and this even applies to the local distance. Even a thief man that I am, if I want to rear cattle, I have to ranch it and fence it. I don't just go around with it because I'm a Benue man.
Yeah. What I need to say very quickly is this. This is a reputable television station, and we have a national issue. I think it is the responsibility of every Nigerian to guide us towards modernity, the way forward. We have now come to a point where the status quo can no longer be maintained. We cannot continue business as usual because it is destroying us piecemeal. Now, how do we then move forward? It is to adopt practices of cattle breeding that are modern. The people, we are not Nigerians. Nigeria is not reputed, is not known to be a major cattle, producing nation. We are not. Those who are, what do they do? Those who are reputed, just like we are reputed in producing oil, those who are reputed in breeding cattle, what do? That they have adopted modern practices. They have put the animals in one place. They have researched to better ways of growing these animals. What am I saying? Why do we continue to talk about cattle colonies, this and that? Let us open up this business and guide the practitioners in that business to such practices that will even help them.
Honorable,
is a cattle better? Is cattle meat better if it has roamed Nigeria? It is not.
Some of them are beginning to agree with that.
Exactly.
But I think the point is, what did they do in the meantime, pending when the transition to ranching actually takes place? Because the argument with the Benue law was that we move our cattle from one place to the other because we are in search of feed for these cattle.
Yes.
If you tell us to put our cattle in an enclosure, where are we going to get the feed when the production line of that has not developed to the level which you are talking about in these advanced countries?
I am extremely happy with the way the discussion is going, because the solution will be so easy to find. In Napre, let me go back there again. They have 1,200 hectares of land. It took me 2 days on vehicles in a coaster bus with the staff there to tour the entire Napre area. The facility available in Napre can feed so many cattle. How many cattle farmers do we need to even produce the amount of cattle we already have now? In Napre, they have a large warehouse of grass, baled grass. Already, I have them on my phone because I recorded these things. They have, and then, how much land do we need to do this thing? How many cattle farmers do we need to do this thing? So, I think that once the discussion begins to go the modern way, we will find a solution.
But then we do.
And then, just like you are saying, well, if the discussion is, please, we need 1 year, 6 months for reorientation of our farmers, and we see government begin to organize reorientation programs for the herdsmen to now teach them the modern practices in cattle rearing,
but then
we are heading the right direction.
Absolutely.
So if we require time, then we will say how much time do we require.
Okay, time is about going because we have to round up. But just saying quickly, as we are talking, there are bureaucracies that are meant to be in place for these things to be accessed.
Yes.
And bureaucracies do waste time. And we're talking about people's lives and their farmlands. And as people are talking, there could also be, happenstance, other misunderstandings in different communities. How do we checkmate that? Because again, if you're talking about orientation, this is real life. It takes time for the narrative to become conversation and people to imbibe it and then have a sense of ownership, especially as you're talking to herdsmen who perhaps have immigrant values from other countries that are in Nigeria. So it might be a tall order. How do you begin to do that?
How do we begin this kind of program now? This thing has become topical. Unfortunately, some people have paid for what we are going to have in future with their lives. And the life of a Nigerian should have been priced better. But when we begin to discuss like this, the Ministry of Agriculture will realize that cattle colonies may not be the solution. They should have to be talking about reorientation. Because anyhow, people have to stop moving. And then the people who are good at breeding this cattle, they need to be taught the modern ways of doing it, so that even with less effort, you produce more meat. Less effort, you produce more milk.
All right.
We cannot be.
There's also the issue of climate change as well.
We'll have time.
That is why I told you that Saudi Arabia is in an arid region. They don't grow grass, but they produce more cattle.
Honorable Abu, like you said, is a developing issue. It's a continuous conversation. We hope to have you gentlemen back with us here in some other time. Okay, Jeff is a member representing Buruku Federal Constituency of Benue State. Honorable Dennis Agbo is of Udenu Igbo, is a North Federal Constituency. Thank you so much for your time.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. Your report is up next. Stay with us.
Hi there, it's your dolly bird, Tammy Doorface, and I'm proud to support You Report because it gives young people a chance to speak up on issues that concern them. If you want to share your opinions on issues like unemployment and improved education systems, You Report is the way to do it, as it helps amplify your voice and allows you to hold your government accountable. The steps are very easy. Text JOIN to 24453 for free on all networks, and like us on Facebook at You Report Nigeria. Join You Report today and make your voice count.
Let's find out what You Report is for week January 11 to 20 to 17, 2018. Okay, it's as You Report is reporting itself this time, just as much as we had it last week. Has participating in polls increased your awareness? Do you think You Report can contribute to positive change? How can You Report contribute to positive change? Why can You Report not contribute to positive change? And how can You Report be improved?
Yes, indeed. And then you also find the answers. The first one says, has participating in polls increased your awareness? 112,753 responded out of 2.71186 million polled. No, 9%. Yes, 91%. And that's what you also see coming up on your screen there. Most important poll topic, 57,115 responded out 150,753 polled. Most respondents says health, education, issues around government. Do you think Your Report can contribute to positive change? 73,643 responded out of 111,783 polled. And yes, 90% and 10% goes for the answer